Welcome back to the second part of our special series on President Park Chung-hee's assassination. This is Sanjay Sharma and you are tuned to our special program, Reading Korea in Rhythm. In the first part, I briefly mentioned about the previous assassination attempts on President Park's life and provided his introduction. In this episode, I will introduce the remaining 5 people who attended the dinner on that fateful evening. So, after President Park, the second person at the party was Cha Ji-chul Kyung-ho-sil-jang, or Presidential Security Chief, or Chief Bodyguard. Given his personality, personal ambition, and political acumen, it would not be an exaggeration to state that he was destined to this meteoric rise to leadership position in politics. Having failed in the entrance for Korean Military Academy in 1953, he became an artillery cadet. Later, he got elected as a lawmaker in the 6th National Assembly and served 2 more terms. He also became the youngest chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in 1969. Security Chief Cha Ji-chul lived his life like the shadow of President Park, right from his days as the bodyguard chief of the then Major General Park Chung-hee. He was a captain during the coup d'etat of 16th May 1961 and a member of the team that arrested Prime Minister Chung Myon. He was appointed to this current powerful position in 1974 after the assassination attempt on President Park by Moon Se-gwang. In the first episode, I mentioned about the incident in which the First Lady lost her life, and that unexpectedly changed the mosaic of official power structure. This was the defining moment when the power of KCIA, or Korean Central Intelligence Agency, started declining and the influence of the presidential bodyguard started growing. Then came the controversial Yushin Constitution. I'm going to elaborate on it in a moment when I discuss the political climate, but for now, this constitution enhanced President Park's power enormously, but at the same time multiplied the number of his opponents and enemies too. So he was badly in need of an all-weather, time-tested, no questions asked type trusted advisor, rather than a philosopher mentor with an independent thinking and mind. And guess what? He found all those qualities in Security Chief Cha Ji-chul, who was recommended by the First Lady as he was a devout Christian, devoted son to his parents, and miles away from mundane vices like alcohol and women. He left no stone unturned to carve the cult personality of the president, asserting "Kakaga kot kukada," meaning the president is the nation, and posted a slogan in his room, "Kaka를 지키는 것이 나라를 지키는 것이다." Protecting the president is protecting the nation. In order to live up to the expectations, he needed free hand. And it was but natural that he aimed at extending and expanding his scope and space. Upgrading his position to the ministerial level, he created a special organization called 대통령 경호 위원회, or the Presidential Security Council, where 중앙정보부장, that is the director of KCIA, 국방장관, defense minister, 내무장관, interior minister, 검찰총장, Prosecutor General, 치안본부장, Chief of Public Security, and UK 공군 참모총장, Chief of Staff of Army, Navy, and Air Force, served as members under his chairmanship as 위원장. He also got a law enacted that would allow the chief bodyguard, who is a civilian, to command the guards in case of emergency. He had the 30th Guard Corps stationed at Gyeongbokgung Palace, which is just in front of the presidential palace. Thus, he had heavy weapons and with the division scale firepower like tanks, armored vehicles, helicopters at his disposal. This cemented his rise to power as the second in command, just next to the president, despite being relatively lower in ranking and younger in age, the factor that matters so much in Korean social structure. Though Security Chief Cha Ji-chul was in good books of President Park, for obvious reasons as mentioned earlier, he was not liked by any senior officials. as he was considered an arrogant, opportunist, and obnoxious person who would not hesitate taking undue advantage of the president's trust in him. In a well-known instant in blatant attempt to demonstrate his loyalty to President Park, he would move tanks in midnight, claiming that he did not mind inconvenience to others at all if that ensured the protection of the president. Needless to say, such ouverture or gestures made him president's darling. Now the third person in the party. He was Kim Jae-Kyu, Chongbo Pujang, KCIA head or KCIA chief. Interestingly, he was a very close friend of President Park and shared many commonalities. They both belonged to the same hometown, Gumi City, attended the same Korean military academy, were in the same teaching profession before joining the army. Besides, he was also his best drinking buddy, as President Park adored his cocktail making skills. Since the security chief Cha Ji-chol did not drink, it was always KCIA chief Kim Jae-Kyu by default who continued hosting President Park for all his drinking sessions, although he had to stop drinking after being diagnosed with liver cirrhosis. Kim Jae-Kyu defied the conventional image of a KCIA head. He was rather a softer person who often talked about liberal democracy, maintained contacts with opposition leaders, and was seen as an approachable person or a reliable bridge by the US administration for communication with the president on sensitive issues like human rights, as appeared in a declassified US diplomatic cable. His tenure as construction minister was quite impressive. In just 2 years, 1974 to 1976, he led the entry of Korean companies in Saudi Arabia, the then fourth key overseas market, boosted export to the Middle East 20-fold, from 45 million US dollar to 900 million dollars in 1976, enabling the nation to overcome the 1973 oil crisis. Even though he was a key member of this powerful coterie or inner circle, he was against highly concentrated or centralized authoritarian system under Yushin Constitution. It is said that he from time to time advised President Park not to cling to power for too long. If you try to assess him from President Park's point of view, it seems KCIA chief Kim Jae-Kyu appeared as a committed and capable soldier with independent thinking, whereas in security chief Cha Ji-chol, he saw an absolute yes man with political acumen, something he needed and preferred in all those around him. And finally, the fourth person was Kim Ki-won, Piso Shilchang, or Chief Presidential Secretary. In the whole incident, he was not a key figure, yet his presence at the scene and his response to the situation gave birth to too many questions and speculations about him. He was a 4-star general, former KCIA director, and a former Korean ambassador to Taiwan. So he too was a very high profile. He was always a welcome participant in such gatherings, but interestingly, given his mild temperament, he seemingly could not make it to the inner power coterie of President Park, which was exclusively meant for hardcore soldiers. In Eastern culture, depending on the occasion, it is quite common to invite art performers or karaoke or sing-along companions to join business gatherings or dinners for socializing or entertainment or simply unwinding after insanely long working hours. Normally, a rather sumptuous meal with uninterrupted replenishing of drinks over long discussions would be the highlight of the party, and that is what President Park wanted on that day during his discussion on all critical issues with his trusted advisors. So the women invited for this evening were budding singer Shim Soo-bong and model Shin Jae-sun. Singer Shim Soo-bong's original name was Shim Min-kyung. At the time of the incident, she was only 24 and was a third-year student of business administration at Myeongji Daehakyo or university. Besides being a songwriter, actor, and musician, well versed in piano and drum, She's one of the most accomplished singers in Korea today, who mainly performs in two genres, that is pongchak or throat medley and ballad. Check out our previous episode on Tuman River, where I talked about pongchak. Though her debut at MBC Music Competition in 1978 did not fetch any award, her self-composed song Could Kim Jae-Kyu became a super hit, and that triggered her career as a singer. Her long list of popular songs include 여자이니까, 남자는 배, 여자는 항구, 무궁화, 사랑 밖에 난 몰라, 겨울 나그네, 피나리, 백만송이 장미, and so on and so forth. The second lady was model Shin Jae-sun. She was seemingly quite ambitious. She was a 22-year-old single mom of a daughter, juggling between her study in the third year of theater and film department of Hanyang University and part-time hustle in the world of modeling and as a DJ at a club at Chongno, Seoul. She got married to a wealthy person when she was just a sophomore or a second-year student. Now that we know the people, you might be curious what exactly triggered the incident. Well, to know about it, we will have to peel the layers to connect four critical dots. That is, political climate in the country, events of the day, dinner table talk culminating in the ultimate trigger. This is gonna be so interesting. Keeping the episode length in mind, let's take a break here and meet again in the third part of the episode to explore the ultimate trigger. So take good care and see you soon in the next part. This is Sanjay Sharma and you are enjoying our special program Reading Korea in Rhythm.